Hey everybody, Case here. Welcome back to Harry Potter Hogwarts Mystery. New year, starting a new chapter. We still only have 7 chapters. We've also got a new class as well, with Trelawney. I can't remember what the actual class was called now. It started with a D. But we have to research Trelawney's prophecy with the Weasleys. Bill is gone, by the way, in case you didn't know that. He's no longer here. He graduated. And a lot of our friends, my friends, I guess you could put it that way, have changed. And I don't like it. KC, is it true that you discovered a petrified student? Technically Beatrice did, but she asked Snape to show me what happened right after. Has word really gotten out that quickly? It's all the school can talk about. The prevailing theory is that it's another curse. That's what Snape believes too. Oh, my owl is moving. I didn't even know it moved. Or maybe I just forgot. Which means, to save that student, we'll need to find and break a curse on the final curse vault. I'm sorry, Charlie. We were scheduled to study together now, but that was before the statue curse happened. Do you mind if we cancel? All I can think about is whether Trelawney's prophecy might be related to all of this. Trelawney gave you a prophecy? Yes, after reading the tea leaves in my cup during my divination class on Tessamony. Tessamony? But aren't Trelawney's prophecies notoriously incorrect? Do you think this is real? I think it's real, I doubt it. Well, I might as well go for it, I guess. Unfortunately, I think it's a real prophecy, as much as I wish it wasn't. It fits too well with what I know about the final curse vault and the new statue curse to be a coincidence. I believe in trusting your gut, and if your gut is really telling you it's real, it probably is. That's why I want to look into it. The problem is that it's vague. It'll be hard to decipher. Then why don't I help you? Really, Charlie? You'll help me research Trelawney's prophecy? Oh man. I don't know why I'm laughing about that. Not if I have any say in the matter. It's Percy, with your weird rat. You follow me here, Percy? Yes, to ensure you're focusing on your studies. You've been oddly distracted since we got back to Hogwarts. What's odd is how little Bill's story about what Rakepig did in the Cursed Vault has affected you. Our brother was almost killed at the school by a professor he trusted. How could he not be bothered by that? I understand what happened with the professor. With Rakepig was awful, but that's no excuse. Honestly, it's bad enough that I have to babysit the twins now that they've started at Hogwarts. But I never thought I'd have to tell my prefect older brother to keep his mind on school. What would Bill say if he knew about this? Bill would sympathize with what I was going through. Bill was actually attacked by Rakepig, yet he managed to focus on his duties as Gringotts Curse Breaker. You should follow his example and focus on your duties as a student. I tell you what, Percy, I'll devote the rest of the day to studying, if you agree to decode Casey's prophecy with me. You studied all year in preparation for your first year in divination. I'm sure you'd be a big help. I appreciate it, Charlie, but you don't have to do that. I want to. If I can help stop the statue curse, it's worth it. Well, I do find divination quite useful and interesting. Alright, I'll accept your offer, but I'll need to know exactly what the prophecy was. Trelawney said she saw murky water in my future, as well as, and I quote, changes swirling around you, endings, fine landings, prices to pay, the ultimate price. That's certainly ominous. We better start trying to decode it right away. Finally! Man, that just kept going with the dialogue, didn't it? We've come up with plenty of theories on what Trelawney's prophecy might mean. But how are we supposed to figure out which of these interpretations are correct? I'm sorry, Casey, but I'm afraid there is no we. Charlie and I need to study. But you could try asking Madame Pins. She might have a book recommendation that could help. Who's that? Is that one of the twins? George? I know there was a preview coming with the twins, I think. This is clearly one of them. I wouldn't go near her for a while if I were you. She's in a foul mood. What did you two do? Nothing. We just thought we'd introduce ourselves to Madame Pins is all. By reorganizing a few of the library shelves. I take it these are the younger twins you mentioned? Oh, that's right. I haven't introduced you yet. Casey, this is... I'm Fred, the older twin. First year Gryffindor, of course. And I'm George, the younger twin. Also a first year Gryffindor. It's nice to meet you both. I wish I could stay and chat, but I have detention. The year's barely begun and already you're getting into trouble? Like I said, George, it doesn't make sense for us to both suffer through Filch's punishment. I'll take the blame next, I promise. Next time? I'm gonna hold that to you, Fred. See ya. It's too bad George had to leave so soon. Don't worry, I do most of the talking anyway, and Charlie and Bill have told us plenty about you already. Nothing too embarrassing, I hope. Just that you drool when you sleep and sing when you think no one's looking. Oh. Fred! Kidding, but I have heard all of your adventures in the Cursed Vaults. And Charlie wouldn't shut up for weeks after you gave him that Hebridean black dragon scale. Fred, Casey didn't need to know that. Though, I was mostly interested in hearing about all the tricks you've pulled around Hogwarts. I'd be honored to have such a master trickster as a friend. Of course, Fred, I could always use my friends. I take it you and George like making mischief? That's putting it mildly. Once, when they were 7, they almost tricked Ron into making an unbreakable vow. Got caught too, no pocket money for a year. Not to mention that time you gave Ron an acid pop and burned a hole in his tongue. A classic. Can you blame us for loving mischief? April 1st is her birthday after all. I'm glad you've met, but now Charlie, Fred, and I need to study. Yes, Mom. I'm sorry we couldn't be of more help to quoting Trelawney's prophecy, Casey. You'd have to be as gifted in divination as a centaur to make sense of that vague prediction. That's it, Percy. I can ask Torvus in the Forbidden Forest to help. With any luck, he'll be able to decipher Trelawney's prophecy. My herd needs me right now, but we can get together when I'm finished. Okay, this makes sense. It's not like, okay, well I gotta go and have a shower for 10 hours or some stupid thing. This makes sense. He's busy. Well, let's see what Torvus has to say. There he is. Thank you for meeting me, Torvus. I'm happy to indulge the humans who returned my herd's arrowhead and help me bring an end to my exile. Were you able to defeat the dragon in the Cursed Vaults and break the curse trapping those students in the portraits? Yes, thanks to your advice about working together, we were able to subdue the dragon and break the curse. Unfortunately, we weren't able to prepare for Professor Wakepick betraying us. We made it out, but... I'm sorry to hear that. What of your brother? Did you manage to find him? Yes, but he left shortly after the chase after Wakepick. I only got to speak to him. In a way, it was less painful when he was stuck in the vault. At least then I knew he wasn't choosing to avoid me. I'm sorry, KC, I know what it's like to be abandoned by those who mean the most to you. You had it worse, I had it worse. Well, I don't think my brother's avoiding me, he just really wants to get to Wakepick. Unless he's pulling a weird thing where he's really evil the whole time. I know you do. In fact, you probably had it even worse, Taurus. After all, your whole family shunned you. I can't imagine how hard that must have been. We're together now, and that's all that matters. I hope you're able to have a proper reunion with your brother, too. Thank you, Torvus. But I imagine you didn't come here to catch up. You're right. The real reason I came here was because a curse from another vault has been unleashed on your school, and you've come to consult with me. Yes, a student's been petrified. How did you know? You only seek me when we need help with something related to vaults, or your brother. I didn't have to divine the future to see this coming. Funny you should mention divination, because that's actually why I came. My divination professor Trelawney gave me an ominous-sounding prophecy. I don't have a lot of clues about what and where the final cursed vault is, just a coral key. And as a petrified student looks similar to the merperson trident I found in the last cursed vault. So if this prophecy is related to the final cursed vault and this new curse, deciphering it might provide some answers. And you want my help doing that because you heard centaurs are skilled in divination. Are you sure you didn't do any divination before I came? No, humans are just very predictable. Tell me what this prophecy said, and I'll see if I can provide any further insights. So, were you able to make any sense of Trelawney's prophecy? I'm afraid this is one beyond my capabilities. This Professor Trelawney must either be truly gifted or truly fake. Thanks for trying anyway, Torvis. However, there are members in my herd who are very much gifted in divination than I. They are masters of astrology and use sage and mallow sweet to refine their findings. They might be able to provide you with further insight into your prophecy. If it'll help me find the last cursed vault before Rigpick leads me to my brother, then I have to talk to other centaurs. That won't be easy. Most refuse to get this close to human settlements. And humans, with the exception of Hagrid and a few others, aren't welcome in Centaur's camp. Please, Torvis, is there any way I can convince the herd to let me visit the Centaur camp? I can try vouching for you, but I was only recently accepted back into the herd. My word might not mean much. However, if you present them with suitable offerings, they might be persuaded. What kind of offerings? Gifts that show you understand and respect the herd and our culture. Can you be more specific? I'm afraid not. The ideas must come generally from you. If the herd suspects I helped you any more than I already have, they'll reject your offering, forbid you from visiting the camp, and likely exile me all again. But no pressure or anything. I have faith in you, Casey. Trust your instincts, they'll serve you well. My instincts are telling me your herd might appreciate some quality herbs. We'd use a variety of them often in our daily lives. Then it's settled. I'll start by paying a visit to Sprout in the herbology greenhouses. Well, you just told them what's going to happen. In my opinion, you shouldn't have said anything. Excuse me, Professor Sprout? Oh, hello there, Mr. Casey. I don't suppose you've come to volunteer your services as a de-weeder. Sorry, Professor Sprout, but no. I was actually hoping I could have some of your herbs. I want to give them as a gift to some, potential friends I'm trying to win over. Then you're in luck. Mr. Winger and I were just about to start harvesting a few of the herbs. Well, how convenient. You've met Mr. Winger, haven't you? Actually, Casey is a friend of mine. Is he? Isn't he mean? Why are you looking at me like that? That was the first time you introduced me as a friend. If you're gonna react like that every time, it's also the last. Alright. I'll tone it down next time. Clearly the two of you are close. Now, back to the matter at hand. I suppose I could share some of my extra herbs with you, Mr. Casey. And I feel there's a but coming. If you're willing to help with the harvesting. Sound fair? No. Yes. Excellent! I think that's all the herbs that we're ready to harvest. It looks like sage, dittany, and lavender had especially good yields, Professor. Excellent. Then I can spare some of one of those herbs. Is there one that you'd recommend? I really want to make a good impression with this gift. That really depends on how you think your recipients would use it. Sage has both mundane and magical uses, and is even used in divination. Dittany contains powerful healing properties. Finally, lavender not only smells lovely, but it has a variety of practical uses, including as an insect repellent. That in mind, which one of these herbs would you prefer? Sage? Dittany? Lavender? I don't know! The sage one seemed the most useful. Dittany had healing properties, right? And lavender helped with insects. Centaurs are like, you're kind of half and half, right? And I'm assuming insects probably try to go on them like horses. Maybe? So I'm going to go and take a really different approach on this. I'm going to go with lavender. It might seem a little strange to a lot of people. I'm going to go with lavender. I'll take the lavender. Great choice. I'm sure your recipients will appreciate its aroma and many uses. Feel free to take a sprig or two before you go. Thank you, Professor Sprout. Though perhaps I could interest you in sticking around to help us water a few plants. Get out while you can, Casey. It starts with watering a few plants, but soon you'll be elbow deep in manure. Don't listen to Mr. Winger. A little manure never hurt anyone. Sorry, Professor, but I really need to talk to Hagrid. With any luck, you'll have some additional gift ideas. Well, I got out while I could. That's great. I need to take Fang for a walk? What in the hell kind of long walk is that for 4 hours? Thanks for inviting me to your hut, Hagrid. Of course. Fang and I were just talking about how we missed having you around. Weren't we, Fang? Woof woof. So how's your 6th year going so far? Not well, Hagrid. I haven't heard from my brother since he left me in the buried vault. Redbrick is still on the loose. A new statue curse has broken out that's petrifying students. And Trelawney gave me an ominous prophecy. I'm sorry to hear that, Casey. Is there anything I can do? Actually, I need your help coming up with some ideas on what to gift the Forbidden Forest Centaur herd. I'd be happy to help, but why? I need to ask the centaurs about Trelawney's prophecy. See, it might contain clues that'll help me find the last cursed vault and break its curse faster. Which will then prevent Rakepick from getting her hands on whatever is in the vault. Save Hogwarts from petrification, help a certain moody wizard, and possibly even reunite me with my brother. It sounds like you need to speak to the centaur herd as soon as possible then. I do, but Torva said I can't enter their centaur camp without suitable offerings. Since they like you, I thought you might have an idea of what to get. Well, they're always happy when I bring me rock cakes on me visits. Really? They like your rock cakes? Can't get enough of them. They make a point to tell me every time I bring them. Say, why don't we cook up a batch of rock cakes as one of your offerings? It's been a while since I made them for him, so I'm sure the centaurs will be thrilled. We all know they actually use them for weapons, probably like slingshots or something. But I don't know, maybe they really like them. Alright, where's my rock cakes? And there you have it, a batch of fresh rock cakes. They look perfect, but why don't you give them a taste just to make sure? Try a rock cake, politely decline. I like how it's like level 1. That's a good idea, Hagrid. I'll do just that. Wouldn't want to serve the centaur as a bad batch after all. I added some raisins this time. What do you think? Tasty. They're really crunchy. Gives some character, don't you think? And the raisins added a interesting flavor. That's what I was going for. I can tell you put a lot of effort and heart into these, Hagrid. Thank you. I'm so happy you like him, Casey. Are you planning to head over to the Forbidden Forest right now? Probably not. Yeah, see? I have to get one more gift first. But the only problem is I have no idea what to get. Well, you could try something related to the stars. The centaurs are always looking up at the night sky. That's a brilliant idea, Hagrid. I'm not very familiar with astronomy, but Medea is. If I stargaze with her, I might come up with an idea for an astronomical gift I can give the centaurs. A new spell, perhaps? Or maybe a spell? What is this? Oh, I collected stuff. Cool! What am I up to now? Nothing? What am I even at? I'm at 6! Thanks for agreeing to stargaze with me, Medea. I never turned down an opportunity to admire the stars, Casey, especially during difficult times. And considering a student recently turned out petrified, I say right now qualifies. I'm actually surprised you wanted to stargaze here. Most of the school seems to be avoiding the courtyard for fear of being petrified themselves. Aren't you afraid of that? By coming here, you'll be cursed too? I decided not to let fear of a possibility stop me from enjoying one of the best stargazing spots at Hogwarts. Just like I didn't let the portrait curse stop me from enjoying Hogwarts' paintings. But what about you? How do you feel about returning back to the place you found the petrified student? Afraid? Frustrated? Determined? I feel even more determined to save the petrified student and the rest of Hogwarts from the statue curse. That's the spirit! Actually, Medea, the curse is related to why I asked you to come. Trelawney gave me a prophecy that might help me find the cursed vault and break the petrified curse. But to make sense of it, I need to enter the Forbidden Forest Centaur camp and consult the centaurs. Which they'll only let me do if I can provide gifts that prove I'm trustworthy, so it's important I get it right. Centaurs are avid astronomers, so I thought stargazing with you might give me ideas for the perfect gift. Well, personally, I never stargaze without my favorite star chart. I found it in the artifact room. It's documented hundreds of years worth of star movements. Why don't you use it when we stargaze? You can see the centaurs might like a star map of their own. After stargazing, I'm sure that the star chart is exactly what I need to impress the centaurs. Now I just need to find one. Luckily, you won't have to look too far, because I'm giving mine to you. What? But Medea, isn't this star chart really special to you? Yeah, and to be honest, I hate to part with it. But I doubt a regular star chart will have as much impact as a rare historical one. And if gifting it to the centaurs will help break the curse to prevent more students from getting petrified, then it's worth it. I practically got it memorized anyway. This means a lot to me, thank you. Now I have everything I need to try to convince the centaurs to let me visit their camp. I better go show them the Torvus. Can't you just make a photocopy? Is it an actual chart or what? Well, Torvus, what do you think about my gifts? You showed excellent judgment in selecting them. I am impressed. For instance, the lavender was a welcome sight. It is hard to find here in the Forbidden Forest. I'm glad to hear you say that. I figured your hood would appreciate its practicality. Do you know what makes it a good bug repellent? I'm sorry, did you know what makes it a good bug repellent? You don't say. The flies are terrible this time of year. Ah, see, that's exactly why I went for it. Again, I'm having a really hard time doing his voice, so I'm just going to talk normally, just before we wrap this up. I'm sure the herd will recognize and appreciate your efforts to choose something rare and useful. I'm also certain the herd will appreciate such a storied and unique star map. Though I'm afraid, I can't say a thing about Hagrid's rock cakes. But Hagrid told me you all love them. We may be beasts, but even we don't have the heart to tell Hagrid the truth. then I suppose we shouldn't include them. On the contrary, we definitely should. Haggard is one of the few humans my herd trusts. Associating yourself with him can only help your case. Then, do you think these gifts will be enough to convince the herd to let me visit the central camp? I believe these offerings truly demonstrate that you understand and respect the herd and their culture. However, the decision is not mine to make. After explaining your situation and vouch for you, the herd will deliberate and consult the heavens. Then you will be brought back to the central camp to present your offerings. After which, a representative of the herd will judge them and make their decision. I understand. Thank you for doing all this to help me, Taurus. It is really important that I understand Trelawney's prophecy. If real, it might be the key to protecting Hogwarts' future, and mine. Don't think me yet, KZ. Your future amongst the herd remains to be seen. Well, that is it for Chapter 3. I kind of hesitated there because I forgot I have to do the other stuff on the side. Also, I said the word Glumbumble, and that really confused me. We didn't do like an insane amount in this episode, but we did knock off enough to know that, hey, the central camp is right around the corner. Whether they accept it or not remains to be seen. And of course, all this is because we need to try and get the next curse vaults before Rig Pick to break the curse and have things the way they used to be. So thank you everybody so much for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Bye everybody.